This is a presentation on why Trump is right on TikTok, and it's part of my IT Basics series. And we discuss how it's part of a dangerous data collection suite from Chinese companies. And the important disclaimer in this is all allegedly. We don't know any of this for sure, but a lot of people have alleged this is what's going on. So I want to explore the perspective as if it is happening and what people are alleging so people understand what is going on with what is being litigated in the courts right now over TikTok and other Chinese social media and gaming companies. So, what are the dangers of TikTok that Trump is talking about? Well, from a data harvesting perspective, it's a honeypot. One of the things they do to get users to stay on the platform is when you post a video, you get a lot of likes, people think they're going viral, and they try to feed that sensation to get you to stay on the platform. It is also a honeypot in the fact that you have very attractive women who are promoted on the platform, which I think is botted, and they basically have them give them lots of followers and make them think that they're viral, and it actually works very well as a self-fulfilling prophecy. But basically, you have people who are attractive and they're designed to lure in men to the platform. This in turn makes men vulnerable to exploitation. So, if to understand this better, we have to understand that users would never go to sketchy Chinese website .cn and enter personal data, right? This is something people would never do. The important thing to understand is that you have to lure people in, okay? And as we go through what they're doing here, we'll understand how they lure people in and what the target is. So ultimately, data on high-level American officials is believed to be the main target that is alleged, and data in general provides strategic information as well, and you can look that up in terms of what militaries like to know about where people are and where they live. All right, so here I have an example of something that no one in their right mind would ever enter data into. As we have, this website is called sketchychinesewebsite.cn. It's requesting you to enter information. There's no incentive to do it. You don't get anything out of it. But they want your information and they're asking you to give it. Obviously, no one would ever give them information. This is not a way to get information. But the reason I show this as an example is this is what it is more obvious. Like, this would be too obvious if the Chinese did this. So how does China get data? Well, they have to have applications that people want to download. Fortnite, League of Legends. These types of applications can be viewed as Trojans because there's perks for sharing info and sharing data. If you spend money in the game, you get extra things that other people don't have. Most games work like that. It's a business model, but for them, it does allow it entices the user to share lots of data about how they pay for things, where their billing address is, where their mailing address is, etc. These things are super helpful. So it is alleged that some of these applications are Trojans to acquire device data. Now, we don't know this for certain, but what is believed to happen is that when you download one of these applications, it tries to break the sandbox. And so it's not just going to stay and ask for data within the application, what you give it. It's going to look at your contact list. It's going to look at other things on your device to figure out more about you. And this is why the government believes it could potentially be a security vulnerability. We don't actually know what these applications do because they're designed to be difficult to reverse engineer to see what they're doing. That is why the Trump administration wants a ban, because they just don't know. It's not that we're saying that they are doing this, but we just can't find out. And the data is theoretically obtainable by U.S. enemies and potentially searchable, so they could search whoever they're looking for and find data on a certain individual. But there's many more reasons you could want data, and you can construct models and things like that. So what data is collected? Well, again, this is all allegedly, and this is very important. But if we assume the sandbox is broken, the data that can be collected is your contact list. If I'm a government official or I know a government official, that data could be collected. Your IP, that is your IP address, your router's name, everything about that in terms of location. Hardware, what kind of hardware do I have? That's actually fairly normal to be collect, but it still is collected. You can also collect GPS data if available. Some data that's also collected is your previously installed apps or other installed apps that are on your device. Whether that be a desktop or a mobile device, you can kind of see what other applications are installed. Again, this assumes that the sandbox is broken and they're looking into other things. And the most severe of these, and why the US government ultimately wants this application not to be allowed in US hands, is because there is a potential for rooting or privilege escalation, which means that ultimately they can compromise your entire device and see what is on it. And that is where a national security issue becomes more apparent, because if someone, like the daughter of someone who's high in the US government, basically downloads this app because they want to see the fun videos, well, that device could be found out and ultimately compromised, and therefore the entire network could be compromised. So they're not really interested in the daughter's phone or device, but they are interested in other devices in that immediate network, and they can potentially get sensitive data from those devices. So why was Trump right here, and how was he stopped? Well, injunctions ceased TikTok from being removed from global app stores. The plaintiffs were creators who made money from the app, and obviously they did not want it to be removed because they have big followings on the application and they're making money. But I think that these people are bad plaintiffs because they don't have the interests of the United States in mind. They have their own personal bank account and other interests in mind that don't help United States citizens. Because of this, the app continues to operate as it did, baiting users, then collecting device data. Now, ByteDance will still retain majority ownership, but again, this is just an interesting situation where they have crafted an application that is supposed to be fun, and it has become popular, and it really has a dual purpose. That is why US law is not designed to deal with modern technology or the threats that emerge from it. What we have to understand is that modern technology has modern threats, and the US justice system doesn't really understand that and can't process those threats in a timely manner. So they look at people who are like teenage girls who are plaintiffs who want to retain their TikTok following, but these same people have no clue what is actually going on and have no interest in protecting the United States or its national security. So all in all, this is still an ongoing issue, but I believe Trump was right here, and I think it's something that a lot of people don't understand. They see headlines about it, but they don't understand exactly why TikTok is a dangerous application, and they don't understand the damage it can do. So I think that people need to understand that Trump was right on this issue, and that he shouldn't have federal judges impeding him on this, because it is a matter of national security. And every day that these applications are allowed to exist, like Fortnite, like League of Legends, like TikTok, there is a potential for U.S. national security to be compromised. So in conclusion, it's important to know that this presentation contains alleged details. I mean, we don't know if they're doing this for sure, and it is currently in litigation in terms of people wanting to retain their followings. But these are what is believed to be reasons that it would be banned for national security issues. We don't know exactly what is going on, but I can infer from what the United States government wants. They would probably want these things to not be the case. And these are the types of things that if you are an IT professional that you would look for. This is how the application would be a national security or a security risk.